my new chief's office. This is a pretty awesome story, frankly. And I look up on the bookshelf, and this is sitting in the bookshelf. The manual of the Los Angeles Police Department, right? Kind of caught my eye. Haven't seen one of those in 10 years, you know? And then I pull it out, and my wife is standing there, and I look at it, and look what's written on the side cover of this manual. I wrote this on this manual. This is the manual that I owned as a captain of Rampart Division. Okay? This is not a coincidence. This is like, wow. This is like a moment where you go, uh-oh, there's something going on here bigger than me. Literally, this is in my office, right? So I'm trying to pick my brain and figure out, okay, so how did my manual from Rampart Division get to Calexico, right? Then I'm going through my chief's desk, and I find this Board of Inquiry report that I wrote for Chief Parks. The whole summary of what happened in the Rampart Division and how things went bad. And I'm like, okay, this is like, you know, whatever, Twilight Zone. It's like happening right there in front of me while I'm doing it, you know. And I tell you, and the community and the way they outpour to me, this is not a mistake that I'm here in Calexico. You can ask my son. He was stunned that I would ever go back and do police work again. He knows how I left the LAPD. And he said, Dad, are you crazy? After all you went through the LAPD, you're going to do this again? He was very upset with me, but he understood, you know. So that's where I come from. That's who I am. This is not a mistake that I'm here. I look forward to working with this council and making everything in the light so that we can get back to the business of doing government the way it was built to happen. And I'm committed to that. And I'm proud of my police department. And again, not making fun of my friend the sheriff. He didn't get to hear this joke last time. But I'm so glad it's a blue uniform with a round badge. No offense. As someone said to me in my early rookie career, son, you're going to be glad that's a round badge, because when some bad guy takes that away from you and tries to shove that when the sun doesn't shine, it won't hurt his man.
I wore the same one for 30 years.
Yeah. So you understand. Okay, so steps that I've taken in the last 8 days. So where are my two lieutenants and my, Martha's up here. Here's one of my lieutenants. Where's the other one? Where's he hiding?
He's got your back.
JJ does his best to just stay out of my jet wash. He's learning. So these poor guys are like tortured because there's so much going on in the department. And you want to know why? Because your community's coming out of the woodwork trying to help me deal with the things that are happening in the department. It's an honorable community, and they can't wait to see things uncovered, looked at, and everything else. And man, there's a lot of passion in this community. I've never seen anything like it. Literally, I can go nowhere. So this morning, about 4:30 a.m., I got up and went for my usual jog, and I'm jogging along. I got everything on, you know, because I kind of stick out in Calexico. I'm not like, you know what I mean. I can't like be undercover in Calexico. So I'm out with a hat on. I can't put my sunglasses on because it's dark and I can't see anything in the dark anyway. And I'm jogging along, and I decide, wow, okay, I'm going to cheat on my job. I'm going to the donut shop. I'm going to get my little cinnamon crisp, and I'm going to get a Diet Coke, take a little break, and then finish my run. So I go to the donut store, and while I'm in there, all these guys start recognizing me. They're all hard-working people. I mean, they're like, wow, you can just tell. Please, I don't mean disrespect, but they're like dirty. They've obviously been working all night. They're on a break. They're getting ready to go back to work. And they all want to come up and talk to me. Some of them barely speak Spanish. And they want to tell me their stories. And they want to tell me how proud they are that I'm here. And they want to ask me the question, why in the world are you in Calexico? I've heard that question so many times. So it's an awesome experience to be in this community. And I hope you hear my heart. You got a great police department. We have some issues we're going to deal with. And I'm going to start sharing some of those with you. And can I deal with them? Absolutely. Are they going to be difficult? No. Because if you look around the room at the support that I have to deal with, and you're going to hear some of the stories about some of these agencies that are already helping you. So number one, I spoke about overtime. So we've instituted a plan to deal with some of the overtime issues. And you know what I neglected to say, because I hadn't even had a chance to meet with the city heads last time. When your police department decides to spend $1 million they don't have, guess what happens to all your other city services in the city? Exactly. You lose them. Because the city manager then has to go rob from the other departments to keep overtime going inside the police department. That is unacceptable to me, because I'm not king of the city. There's only one king of the city, and they're sitting right there. those 5 city council members. So when people act like they don't have to follow the rules and disrespect their other general managers and their heads and don't really care, not going to happen on my watch. They're my partners. We all have responsibilities in the city. I look at our facilities, I look at our parks, I look at our roadways, I look at our street signs. It's a crime that we would just spend all that money that could do to make our city better because I could. So it's not going to happen. It's just not the way to do business, and it's not going to happen. And like I said, if I do, I hope they fire me. So the next thing I did, so I heard lots of discussion last week, some in Spanish, some in English, about bus inspections in the city. And I thought to myself, bus inspections? Why is the city of Calexico Police Department involved in bus inspections? I don't know if you know it, but that's the responsibility of the California Highway Patrol.
Well, we know it.
Okay, so I was really puzzled. And I'm just being honest. I was so puzzled. I was like, are you kidding? Why would we do that? So my poor lieutenant said, okay, guys, I need you to do a little investigation for me. I said, so find out why we're doing it, how many people in our department that we have that are actually qualified to do bus inspections, because if we do bus inspections and they aren't qualified to do them and then that bus crashes, guess what happens to the city's coffers? More money goes out in lawsuits. So we're creating a liability risk on something we shouldn't be doing in the first place. So they go out and they do the research. I call up the CHP. Those troops come, and then their captain shows up, and I said, why are we doing inspections? He says, I don't know. Your chief decided to just take that over from us. We don't know why they're doing it. And then he says, by the way, they're not qualified. You realize the liability. He's like repeating what I already knew instinctively. So I met with them, and I said, okay, as of today, we're no longer doing bus inspections in the city of Calexico.
Yeah.
And I know my city attorney is going to be applauding me because she doesn't want any more liability or cases to deal with herself. And that, not only that, there's a more important issue. I don't have enough cops to put them out on the street to meet my minimums, and that's why overtime is going through the roof. Why? Because they're doing things they don't need to be doing, like bus inspection. That's not their role in the city. So that's one thing I did to deal with the overtime issue. Next. I met with the head of my narcotics investigation group, okay? And I said to him, so how does it work in Calexico? Once you find street narcotic sales and you arrest somebody, it always leads to bigger things, right? And I asked him what we normally do in Calexico. And he said, well, we normally investigate them ourselves. So I said, well, isn't there an Imperial Valley Narcotics Task Force? And the gentleman that leads that is standing here in the room with us. And he said, yes, there is. And I said, well, why don't we send them to them? Well, we like to do our own. Okay? Been a cop a really, really long time. Doesn't pass the smell test. I'm just being honest. Now, do I think anything's going wrong? I don't know. But boy, we're sure going to look into that right away. Because that one doesn't pass the smell test. Then I asked this individual who's in charge of narcotics, I need to see all your confidential informant files, because I want to know who they're talking to, what information they're getting, are they reliable? There's actually a process in the manual about how you create a confidential informant file. He said he didn't have any. I said, well, why don't you have any? Because I don't have any current investigations in the city of Calexico. So you see how I might have been a little confused about, yes, we do our own, but no, we don't have any. I might be a little confused. So I started thinking, okay, this makes more sense in talking to my lieutenants that we not do any follow-up investigations, that we actually give it to the task force, that we donate personnel to actually do those follow-ups investigations. They have the equipment, the capability, and the supervision to do it right. And it's a very professional organization that all the law enforcement agencies donate to. Like common sense, right? And then guess what happens to all those resources? They stay in Calexico and investigate all the crimes against person and property that aren't being investigated right now because they're busy doing narcotics investigations. I'm more interested in you, the victims of Calexico, having your crimes investigated. So then I find out this individual happens to be a sergeant in my organization. He's in charge of all the internal investigations in the department, or was. He's also in charge of narcotics. He's in charge of all the criminal investigations. So, okay, so now he's a sergeant. He's the first level supervisor inside the Calexico Police Department. He should have never been put in that situation. No one runs internal investigations, narcotics investigations, and criminal investigations in any organization I've met in the world that wasn't a staff or a command officer. And you know why. There's a lot of mischief when you control all of that inside a police department. And at the sergeant's level, it's so inappropriate, I was stunned. So now we've reorganized that. And he's now just in charge of criminal investigations, responsible for investigating the crimes against Calexico citizens that have been neglected for a very long time. I don't know how bad that is yet because I haven't had a chance to really look at that, but they basically said we haven't been investigating crimes in Calexico. That was the response I got. So that was like another no-brainer decision. And Mr. Lloyd, thank you for the opportunity to meet with you and talk to you about that and taking on our workload. And I really look forward to being a partner in that task force, so thank you. So the next thing I do is, there are some other investigations going on in Calexico. There's always investigations going on in the police department. If there aren't, you shouldn't be worried. But there are some. And, you know, there are people that are making allegations which I don't know whether I believe yet or not, and that's why we have an investigative process. But part of that is some allegations about missing evidence from our evidence room. I don't take that lightly. Any of you know what happened in Rampart. That's where it started. And so I immediately talked to the sheriff, as kind as he is, and as overworked as he is, and overwhelmed as he is. He graciously passed it down the chain of command to one of his under-sheriffs. And we've now closed down our locker facility for a few days, and they're going to come in and do a full audit of everything in our evidence room. So you say, why would I do that? Any good chain of command change anywhere in any police department in the world, when you come in as a new commander, you audit everything. So whatever rumors you hear, that is the only reason I'm doing it. It has nothing to do with my suspicions. And yes, people have said things, but again, we'll find out. And this is the way you find out. You audit the entire evidence room, and then from this day forward, all of you will be comfortable, the council will be comfortable, the city attorney will be comfortable, my boss will be comfortable, and we got nothing to worry about. And thank you, Sheriff, because that's an awful lot of hard work for your people to do, and thank you for taking care of us on that.
Yeah.